Why does making friends as an adult feel so
What should I
hard?
wear on a
What
first
the
date?
hell is a form?
But that
Why
hookup
is
was
buying my
not
first
good.
home
What
so
do I want my
frustrating?
life to look like in 5 years?
We want to know too.
Since 2012, the Every Girl has been an online destination to help women around the world achieve the life of their dreams. Now, we're excited to bring you the same inspiring content with the Every Girl podcast.
Welcome back to the show, Every Girls. Today we're getting into our next episode of the Summer Glow Up series. If you're just tuning in, the series kicked off a couple weeks ago with 8 wellness tips for hot girl summer. This series is really intended to help you feel like your best, most confident, most authentic self. For one, so you can actually enjoy the summer to the fullest. So you feel amazing in your body and in your mind and connected to yourself. So you can actually look back at the summer and think, I really did enjoy it to the fullest. But also, I think summer is a great time to intentionally start leveling up our lives. New Year's gets all the buzz because there's something exciting about the idea of a fresh start, and everyone wants to set resolutions. But then we completely forget about them by February. And if not, we certainly forget about them by this time of year. But summer is this empowering time where most of us feel a lot more energized. The warmer weather and longer days make us feel more motivated. There's also just this fun, carefree, joyful feeling that I think makes it a lot easier to tap into our best selves and who we want to be. So, this series is meant to tap into all of that, to take advantage of this season and live it intentionally so that you level up your life, so that you start living the life and being the person you know you are meant to be. So, the next topic we are covering in the series is how to embody it girl energy. Now, I did a lot of research for this episode. Okay. This is not your fluffy, like, act confident and love yourself advice. This is rooted in neuroscience and psychology. And I'm going to break down super tangible strategies to access your own best self energy, which I believe is the secret to manifesting anything you want. It's the secret to leveling up or glowing up that we do not talk about enough. What I'm referring to in this episode as it girl energy is not about being the most gorgeous or rich person in the room. It's not about having 1 million Instagram followers or being famous. It's actually not at all about being light. It's about being magnetic. It's about walking into a room and people feeling something shift. It's about embodying main character energy so deeply that the universe literally reorients itself around you. That's what I'm going to teach you to accomplish today. So, first, let's dive into what actually is it girl energy and what does it mean to you? I interviewed Whitney Euland, a coach who teaches people how to be famous. That was back in episode 103, May of last year. She calls it celebrity energy, but it's basically the same idea as this it girl energy or best self energy. And Whitney defines it as being about certainty. Celebrities don't wonder if they're worthy of attention. They've already decided that they are. And Whitney argues that that certainty becomes their magnetism. And neuroscience backs this up. Research from the University of Oregon proves that confidence creates competence, not the other way around. When you believe you're amazing or you're captivating or you're worthy or capable, your brain literally performs better. It processes faster, you make more eye contact, you speak with clarity. So when you believe you're magnetic, let's say, without thinking consciously about it, you just believe that you are, you perform those small little things that subconsciously signal to other people that you are, in fact, magnetic. So you believe you're magnetic, then you become magnetic to other people. To use maybe like a more tangible example, if you believe you are an amazing public speaker, When you are presenting at your next meeting, your brain will subconsciously and automatically do all the little things like speak clearly, take pauses, make eye contact that actually makes you an amazing public speaker. We often think that it's competence that creates confidence. We have to speak well in public, then we become a confident public speaker, or we are liked by a lot of people, and then we become confident in how likable we are. Or here's a really common one, we lose weight, and then we become confident in how beautiful we are. But research shows it's actually the opposite. Competence does not create confidence, it's the other way around. That means that confidence is not about evidence or past experience, it's a habit. Confidence is a practice. And then when you practice it, your ability follows. We see this so much in real life examples. You believe you're an amazing public speaker, and then you're able to actually have an amazing presentation. You believe you are likable and worthy, and then you become likable to other people. You love how beautiful you are, and then you lose weight. Trust me and trust the research. Confidence creates competence. Being confident is what allows you to be and do anything. It's not the other way around like you might have been taught your whole life. I feel like I said confidence and confidence like 10 times in the last 2 minutes. So, it girl energy, best self energy, is a matter of confidence. It is believing that you are already deserving of, or worthy of, or can have whatever it is you want. Believing to your core that you are worthy and amazing. It may sound too good to be true, but I swear to you, if you start to change your confidence and nothing else, just your confidence, your entire life, your career, your relationships, the money you make, your health will transform. So, how to tap into that confidence and access it girl energy? I have broken it down into 3 steps to make this as tangible as possible. The first step is to make clearing out self doubt a daily habit, it's a routine. Like, I want you to think of clearing out self doubt as kind of like the static when you're listening to the radio. Like, it's always there underneath everything you do, it just becomes a constant. And here's why clearing out self doubt matters so much and deserves to be the first step instead of just diving into the happy self love beliefs. Self esteem is your ceiling. You are only capable of whatever you believe you are deserving of or what's possible for you. For example, there are so many women that I've coached who want to lose weight. They have spent thousands of dollars trying to lose weight, or they've been on and off dieting and workout programs since they were teenagers. Like, they want to lose weight, but wanting kind of has nothing to do with it. These women had these typically subconscious beliefs that they were not worthy of or capable of losing weight. Maybe it was everyone in my family is overweight, or I've wanted to lose weight for years and nothing has worked, so I just can't lose weight. It's impossible for me. I also have worked with some women who think of themselves as unworthy of the body that they want because maybe they think they are, quote, lazy or they don't have willpower. If you believe you are lazy or don't have willpower or that weight loss is impossible for you, your actions will reflect this. Your energy reflects this. And therefore, your reality will reflect this. A big example of this for me has been my beliefs about money. Of course, I want financial freedom. My best self certainly has a house that I can make beautiful, lives in LA, which is a very expensive city, and I'd love to feel like I'm not sacrificing too much. My best self can certainly order the extra guac without batting an eye. You know what I mean? But I have had a lot of lack of self esteem and limiting beliefs about money, starting with being in like 3rd grade and telling myself, I'm not good at math. I grew up, obviously, as an opinionated feminist. Okay, don't worry. But I still had the ingrained belief, the thought in my head of like, thank God I don't have to be the breadwinner because I'm going into a creative career where there is no money. I cannot make money in the career that I'm going into. So to change these beliefs, I had to, first of all, notice the self-doubt. Noticing it comes first. Because if you're not aware, these limiting beliefs just seem like reality to you. It seems like, of course, I'm not good at math. Of course, I'm not as pretty as other girls. Of course, I don't have friends. Insecurities and self doubt seem a lot like just realistic observations until we start to notice them and realize that they are not or do not have to be true. And then to get rid of the limiting belief, you have to find evidence that the opposite is true. And you have to do this until your brain starts automatically doing it itself. For example, I can think of thousands of examples of people in creative careers who make a lot of money. I can think of so many examples of women who are amazing with their money and highly successful. There are many people that are more creative and hated algebra in school, but now thrive with their personal finance. I've told myself for years that I want to be financially successful, but I'm not good with money. These thoughts I had were not rooted in reality. They were beliefs that were, first of all, inaccurate, but then deeply holding me back. There is something called energetic hygiene, where we have to constantly be working to clear out the energies and ideas and beliefs that are holding us back. It's a routine, just like physical hygiene. So that's what I want you to start doing. Start this energetic hygiene routine where you consistently notice and disprove limiting beliefs. If you don't know exactly what self doubts you have, maybe make a long list of everything that you want in your life in every area: family, finances, relationships, friendships, health. And then ask yourself, do I really, really, really believe I am both worthy and capable of getting these things? What beliefs could there be that may be convincing me I am not worthy or I am not ready or it is not possible to have these things? And then once you identify those thoughts, begin to disprove them. Actively change your self esteem. Search for evidence to disprove those doubts. Maybe that looks like, you follow people on social media who are similar to you or have a similar background and got what you want. Like I could search for female podcast hosts who make millions of dollars a year and have no business or financial background. Maybe do a Google search for people who have completely cured the same chronic illness that you have. Or maybe this means just reasoning with yourself, giving yourself the evidence. Like you're telling yourself that you're unlovable and people don't like you. Where is the evidence that people do like you? Finding evidence to support it girl beliefs and disproving the limiting beliefs is important, not only to change the old beliefs, but also because you'll find more evidence of how amazing or worthy or deserving you are, which will only grow your it girl energy. It's the secret to being your best self. And this is because of something called the reticular activating system. The reticular activating system, or RAS, as I will from now on be calling it, it's a complex network of neurons that work as a filter for the brain. We are constantly bombarded with sensory information. Like, think of all the things at one time we could possibly see, smell, hear, all at once. It's overwhelming. If we did not have this reticular activating system, the RAS, to filter out everything that is irrelevant, we would never be able to focus on or take in anything about our surroundings because we would be overloaded. The job of the RAS is to filter out all of the irrelevant stimuli and highlight what the brain believes is relevant. One common example of this is, let's say you purchase a red Honda Civic and suddenly you see a lot of other red Honda Civics on the road. This isn't because a lot of other people decided to buy a red Honda Civic the same time you did. This is because before, the RAS system did not see these red Honda Civics as relevant, so you just didn't notice them. The brain filtered it out. The RAS now sees them as relevant to you, so you notice them. How this relates to your confidence is because the RAS reinforces what's already in your subconscious. So if your belief is, I'm too lazy to have an exercise routine, your RAS will filter out any information or stimuli or emotions that prove that you can have an exercise routine, and it will retain information or stimuli to reinforce the belief that you are lazy and you can't have an exercise routine. I see this happen a lot when people think, I'm not likable. People don't like me very much. Maybe you're traumatized from high school, as most of us were. And you're like, I was a nerd. I'm not the popular kid. And you've carried that identity with you all these years. When you hold that belief, it not only affects your actions, which then might be making you less likable, but you're also missing the smiles on people's faces after they talk to you that shows that they really like you. Or you might not be aware of how much your friends really love you. You don't retain the compliments that you receive. But if you start believing and telling yourself you are lovable, you are popular, whatever it is, the RAS will begin picking up more evidence, beliefs, and opportunities that support this. Just like if you start believing I'm good with money, I can make more money, the RAS will start picking up more evidence, beliefs, and opportunities that can actually help you make more money. So that's the first step. Constantly become aware of limiting beliefs so you can rework them to beliefs that serve you more, that will improve your self esteem. The second step to accessing it girl energy is gaining clarity on who your best self is. Here's a common mistake that I see people make. When they hear the phrase it girl energy or tapping into best self, they think of this generic kind of person that is not at all specific to them. Maybe they think of just like the classic cool girl who seems effortlessly size 2, who wears a certain kind of outfit. Maybe you think of a celebrity that is just the definition of it girl to you. Or you see this a lot with the concept of best self. A lot of people think their best self is like the classic wellness girl on TikTok who wears aloe sets and eats bowls of protein and does Pilates at 6 a.m. and makes $1 million. I'm not saying that these things can't be factors for your best self, but a lot of people have no idea who their best self is. The idea of it girl energy or being your best self often gets confused with how you are supposed to be in order to be deemed worthy by our society. But you will never actually be happier or healthier trying to emulate the energy that is not authentic to you, that you're only tapping into because that's the kind of person or behavior or body type that our culture rewards. And people will never respond to that either. Maybe you even know someone, maybe it's a friend or an influencer that seems to have all the makings of it girl energy, like the checklist, like I just said. She is objectively beautiful and she acts like a cool girl, and maybe she has a successful job or whatever it is, but she's not magnetic. There's something about her that feels artificial or surface level, or there's just like not energy around her. She doesn't like glow when she walks in a room. You know what I mean? I guarantee that's because this person is trying to become someone based on what society has deemed worthy, not based on their authenticity. I see a lot of these people in LA. It girl energy is actually entirely authentic to you. Because, like I said, what makes you magnetic is being so deeply rooted in yourself, being so clear on who you are and who you are meant to be. So, it is really imperative that you have a very clear vision of your best self, which means the most authentic version of you. Like, if there was no judgment, you had no fears, you had no pressure of who you were supposed to be, you were rooted in self worth instead of need for validation. Who is that person? That is your best self. What a lot of people think their best self is, that other version that I was talking about, is fully rooted in judgment and fear and pressure and need for validation. Whereas your actual best self is completely free from judgment, free from pressure, free from need for validation. Do you see the difference? So, in order to get clarity on who that best self is so that you can tap into that version, try this. Write out every detail of your best self, how she acts, how she thinks, who she is. You can start really broad, probably things you've thought about before. What does your best self do for work? Where does she live? Who does she live with? How does she spend her time? What's her morning routine? What does she wear to work? What does she wear on a lazy Sunday? And then here are the important questions. What thoughts come up when she looks in the mirror? What kind of texts or behavior does she not respond to anymore? Here's a big one. What does my best self believe about herself that I don't yet? Let me say that one again. What does the best version of you believe about herself that you currently don't? I would spend as long as you can. Like literally, you can spend an hour putting everything that comes to your mind on paper, reminding yourself that it's about authenticity and who you would be without the need for validation or the pressure to become someone else. Now that you have the clarity, you also have the blueprint to become them. You literally know what thoughts to program, you know how to dress, you know how to respond. Like go through this journaling session and circle all of the things that you can turn into action steps to start doing right now. And the third step to embodying it girl energy is to feel comfortable taking up space. In episode 172, which was about the best weight loss tips, I encouraged you to love what's big in you and aspirations and body and emotions. And yes, I think this can help us stop wanting to shrink physically to feel entitled to take up the physical space. But a huge part of being your best self and being magnetic and magical and embodying that it girl energy is also that you not only feel okay with, but feel entitled to take up space in the world. There is substantial research showing that women, compared to men, are socialized to shrink themselves and to be small, both physically and emotionally. We see this obviously play out in body image. Women are socialized to want to be small and skinnier, while men are socialized to want to be tall and to bulk up. The author, Naomi Wolf, argued in her book, The Beauty Myth, that the ideal of thinness is a political strategy to undermine women's power. Even just the concept of, I just want to lose 10 pounds, is not about health. It's about taking up less space physically and metaphorically. There's a very well researched confidence gap. A survey by the Confidence Code for Girls found that girls' confidence drops by 30% between ages 8 and 14. So when you were 8 to 14, statistically speaking, your confidence probably took a hit by 30%. Around this age, many girls begin to shrink themselves socially. They become quieter in class, they avoid leadership. Maybe you even had this experience where you felt yourself emotionally or socially shrinking. You also see this need to be small manifest in public and professional spaces and also in communication styles. Research found that women tend to use more like mitigating language, like saying, I'm sorry more often, or saying, I might be wrong, but here's what I think, in an effort to not take up space emotionally or intellectually. Actually, side note, when I'm interviewing, I find that so many women, the most self assured, intelligent women that I've gone to interview, say the words, I think, so often. Even before stating what they know is absolute fact, they say, I think it's because blah, blah, blah. And I almost was about to say, I think it's because. So I'm going to say it's because we almost subconsciously don't want our opinion or what we're saying to be too big. And it always reminded me of an English teacher that I had in high school who told me that she found girls always used, I think, too much in essays. Like she would have to edit out all these different I think that girls would write into their essays, while boys never used the phrase I think in essays. Boys felt confident stating their opinion as fact without feeling the need to allow other people the opportunity to disagree. So I kind of edit out guests or even myself saying the phrase, I think, as much as I can, because I hope that if we as women hear that phrase less, we'll feel the need to say it less. But think about all the other ways that we as women make ourselves small. We cross our legs and pull our purses onto our laps and shrink into our bodies to take up less space on the subway. Sheryl Sandberg talks about sitting at a table with male executives who took up physical space. They sprawled their legs, they were physically leaned into the table, while the few women remained at the edge, very pulled back. That's literally why she titled her book Lean In, because she noticed the physical manifestation of our world making women feel entitled to take up space, both physically and also in the conversation. Now, a lot of this that women do is a superpower. A lot of this is empathy. To be clear, I don't think women should do more manspreading. I think more men should empathize with other people on the subway and be aware of others' comfort so they choose to take up less space. I totally get Sheryl Sandberg's mission, and I really admire and appreciate the work that she's done for gender equality. She really met us where we were as a culture when she released Lean In 2013. But maybe her book should be like, men, lean out and ask other people their opinions. But all that is to say, a huge part of tapping into it girl energy is feeling entitled to take up space in this world. It's also feeling entitled and safe being seen. There's a term called covering that describes how people, especially women, minimize aspects of their identity to fit in. So, for example, women often downplay ambition, they dress more neutrally, or they maybe mute their personality or their interests. These are all forms of strategic invisibility in order to stay safe from other people's judgments or even literally to feel physically safe, especially as women, we are often in situations of danger. That it girl energy, that magnetism that pulls people into you relies on owning your presence unapologetically. Other people feel your energy so strongly because you speak confidently, because you take up space mentally and physically. But fear of being seen or taking up space, whether that's rooted in social conditioning, even very fair safety concerns, directly opposes that. It pulls you out of your best self energy and what you're capable of. We see this shrinking, ingrained belief, needing to be small, show up even when it comes to achieving what we want. We often have this like, don't look at me, I'm not ready. A lot of people will not wear what they want because they don't feel like they're at the quote right weight yet. They don't want to draw attention to themselves because they don't like the way that they look. Or people won't post on social media or they won't ask for the promotion because they don't feel ready to be seen. It girl energy is saying, look at me, don't look away. While you might be telling yourself, I'm going to be judged or it's not safe to be seen, it girl energy says, I deserve to be visible. And when I am seen, I'm powerful. We can't tap into our best self energy when we're scared to be seen, when we are shrinking in meetings, when we're second guessing our words, when we're dressing down so we don't draw attention or saying sorry just for existing. We are dimming the light that makes us magnetic. It girl energy is not something artificial that you put on. It's what emerges when you stop apologizing for taking up space. So, to start feeling entitled to show up, to be seen, to take up more space, think of visibility as an act of self trust. Let me explain that. For many people, being visible or taking up space can trigger feelings of, am I being too much? Will people think I'm full of myself? Is this self centered? These thoughts come up, especially obviously for women. That's because we're taught implicitly or explicitly that wanting attention or wanting success means that we are vain or arrogant. Again, more ways that the world has kept women small. In reality, visibility is just an act of self-trust. It means that you believe your ideas are worthy of hearing. It means that you trust your presence is valuable. It means that you actually know what you have to offer the world. Also, while we're at it, work on taking up space physically. Speak louder, raise your hand in meetings, uncross your arms, and lift your head up. Take up more physical space. A 2010 Harvard study showed that just 2 minutes of power posing, which is kind of like being in the Wonder Woman stance, increases confidence. So if it feels safer from the comfort of your own home, just do the Wonder Woman pose in front of the mirror. It may feel pretty fucking stupid, but research does show that it will help improve your confidence. Next time you walk in a room or you're on a date or you're in a meeting, don't shrink, don't fidget, take up space. And because if you're a woman, probably nobody has ever told you this, I will tell you now, you deserve to take up space, big space in this world. So that's the third step to tap into it girl energy. As some little bonus tips, I wanted to include some really interesting kind of cognitive biases that I thought were really fascinating and we can use to kind of hack into it girl energy as well. And you might like these, especially if you are more psychology or science minded. Even if you're not, I will explain so they make sense to you because these are basically brain patterns that can help us understand how our mind works so we can actually use it to our advantage. For example, there's a cognitive bias called the spotlight effect. That means that we think people are noticing and judging us more than they actually are. We all know this one, okay? I mean, if you have ever had an insecurity about your physical appearance before, this is the spotlight effect. Maybe you had a huge pimple and you're like, everyone's looking at it. I don't even want to go out because everyone's going to notice my pimple. But then when have you ever noticed someone else's pimple? Even if you have noticed it, when has it ever mattered to you? When have you ever thought twice about someone else having a pimple? We think people are noticing us and judging us more than they are. That's just the psychological truth. But here's the cool thing. We can use the spotlight effect to our advantage and use it to help us tap into it girl energy. This is where being Delulu comes in. If you think everyone's watching you or is aware of you, act like you want them to. Think about them noticing how beautiful you look or how amazing you are. I'm talking about the delusion that's like, this barista is definitely flirting with me because they put a smiley face on my cup. Or everyone in this restaurant thinks I must be a celebrity because I look so good. Delusion is healthy. And if we're already feeling the spotlight effect anyway in a negative way that's taking away our it girl energy and making us think that everybody's aware of the 5 pounds we've gained or the pimple on our face, let's repurpose it to serve us more. This tricks your brain into embodying that energy until it's your normal. Another hack to tap into your it girl energy is to befriend other it girls. And I'm not talking about Sophia Richie, although Sophia, I would love to be your friend. I mean, befriend other women that are so confident in themselves. They have this magnetic best self energy that we're trying to tap into. You've heard of that, you are the sum of the 5 people you spend the most time with. And according to neuroscience, this is true. There's something called mirror neurons, and these are the brain cells that are responsible for empathy. Yet again, another way empathy is a superpower to us, and I could go off on a tangent about that, but I digress. So thanks to these mirror neurons, your brain literally mirrors behavior around you. When you are around someone confident, your brain copies it. Confidence and also insecurities are contagious. So you want to fill your circle with people who aren't looking for external validation or looking to compete with you, which are big signs of insecurities. But they're so strong in who they are and they're so confident. Also, curate your social media. Find creators that are the most confident and authentic and self assured, and your mirror neurons will start to copy that. Another psychology trick that I think could help if it resonates with you is the Pygmalion effect. This one's wild, okay? Studies show that when people expect more of you, you will rise to meet it. This is a psychological phenomenon that we all experience. It's named after a sculptor in a Greek myth who sculpted a woman and then fell in love with her because it was said in the myth that his belief and idealization of her were so strong that it literally brought her to life. So, this effect is basically like what people think of you manifests in reality. There are studies that show that patients make a full recovery more often when their doctors believe that they will, regardless of diagnosis. Here's another interesting study, and this one's from 1968. Teachers were told that certain students who were randomly selected were called intellectual bloomers based on a completely fake test. So the students weren't actually smarter, but the teachers believed they were. Over the school year, those students actually performed better, not because of their abilities, but because teachers expected more from them. When someone expects more from you, you are more likely to succeed. So, what if you expected more of you? What if we use the Pygmalion effect to our advantage by believing we are going to be rich or believing we are going to lose weight or believing that we are really lovable and have a lot of friends, knowing that that belief alone is enough to get us to achieve it. Start treating yourself like you are the next big thing and watch how the world responds. So, those are my tips to tap into your best self, it girl energy for summer. Remember that this isn't about becoming someone new or becoming better than you are now. It's about returning to the version of you that always knew she was the main character before the world dumbed down your glow. And I hope that feels like less pressure and that it even maybe feels easier as well, knowing that tapping into it girl energy, becoming your very best self, is not about changing or adding on all these new things about you. You already have everything that you need at your disposal. No matter your goal in life, whether it's to be healthier or more successful or happier or have better relationships, I promise you, you already have everything that you need. You just need to remove all of the limiting beliefs and the negative self awareness and the bullshit that the world has put on you to dim you down. You already got it. You just have to live it. I hope you love this episode. Let me know in the Spotify and YouTube comments what you thought and leave a 5-star review if it brought you any value or resonated with you in any way. Until next time, every girls, go be that bitch. I hope you enjoyed the episode. I know I sure did. Please do not forget to rate, review, and subscribe. It really makes a huge difference for our show so we can keep growing and bringing the content that you love. If you want more info, you can find us at the Evergirl Podcast on Instagram or theeverygirlpodcast.com. Talk to you next week.